had too many interesting things to think about to let her responsibility worry her as she walked through the autumn sunshine toward the school bus stop. Her new eraser in hand, new sandals on her feet, that quivering feeling of excitement in her stomach, and the song about high hopes running through her head. She thought about her father's new part-time job, zipping around in the warehouse in a forklift truck, filling orders for orange juice, peas, fish sticks, and all other frozen items the markets carried. He called himself Santa's little helper because the temperature of the warehouse was way below zero, and he would have to wear heavy padded clothing to keep him from freezing. The job sounded like fun to Ramona. She wondered how she was going to feel about her father teaching art to other people's children, and decided not to think about that for a while. Instead, Ramona thought about Beezus going off to another school, where she would get to take cooking classes, and where she would come up to the rescue if she couldn't come to the rescue if her little sister got into trouble. As Ramona approached her bus stop, she thought about one of the best parts of the new school. None of her teachers at the new school would know who Beezus was, and they wouldn't know that she was Beatrice's little sister. Teachers always liked Beezus. She was so prompt and neat. When both girls had gone to Glenwood School, Ramona often felt as if teachers were thinking, I wonder why Ramona Quimby isn't more like her big sister. When Ramona reached the bus stop, she found Howie Kemp already waiting with his grandmother and Willa Jean, who had come to wave goodbye. Howie looked up from his lunchbox, which he had opened to see what he was going to have for lunch, and said to Ramona, Those new sandals make your feet look awfully big. Why, Howie, said his grandmother, that's not a nice thing to say. Ramona studied her feet. Howie was right, but why shouldn't her new sandals make her feet look big? Her feet had grown since her last pair. She was not offended. Today I'm going to kindergarten, boasted Willa Jean, who was wearing new coveralls and a t-shirt and a pair of her mother's old earrings. Willa Jean was convinced she was the most beautiful girl in the world because her grandmother kept telling her so. Ramona's mother said Mrs. Kemp was right. Willa Jean was beautiful when she was clean because she was a healthy child. Willa Jean did not feel she was beautiful like a healthy child. She felt she was beautiful like a grown-up lady on TV. Ramona tried acting kindly toward little Willa Jean. After all, her family was depending on her. Not kindergarten, Willa Jean, she said. You mean nursery school. Willa Jean gave Ramona a cross, stubborn look that Ramona knew too well. I am going to go to kindergarten, she said. Kindergarten is where the kids are. Bless her little heart, said her grandmother, admiring her always. The bus, the little yellow school bus Ramona had waited all summer to ride, pulled up to the curb. Ramona and Howie climbed aboard as if they were used to getting on buses by themselves. I did it just like a grown-up, thought Ramona. Good morning, I'm Mrs. Hannah, your bus aide, said the woman sitting behind the driver. Take the first empty seats toward the back. Ramona and Howie took window seats on opposite sides of the bus, which had a reassuring new smell. Ramona always dreaded the people and fume smell on the big city buses. Bye-bye, called Mrs. Kemp and Willa Jean, waving as if Ramona and Howie were going on a long, long journey. Bye-bye. Howie pretended not to know them. As soon as the bus pulled away from the curb, Ramona felt someone kick the back of her seat. She turned and studied the face of a sturdy boy wearing a baseball cap with a visor turned up and a white t-shirt with a long word printed across the front. She studied the word to see if she could find short words in it. She had learned to do this in 2nd grade. Earth, quakes, earthquakes, some kind of team. Yes, he looked like the sort of boy whose father would take him to ball games. He did not have a lunchbox, which meant he was going to buy his lunch in the cafeteria. A grown-up would not call him a purple cootie. Ramona had faced front without speaking. This boy was not going to spoil her first day of 3rd grade. Thump, thump, thump against the back of Ramona's seat. The bus stopped for other children, some excited, some anxious. Still, kicking continued. Ramona ignored it as the bus passed her former school. Good old Glenwood, thought Ramona, as if she'd gone there a long, long time ago. All right, Danny, said the bus aide to the kicking boy. As long as I'm riding shotgun on this bus, we won't have any kicking of the seats. Understand? Ramona smiled to herself as she heard Danny mutter an answer. How funny the bus aide saying that she was riding shotgun. It was as though she was guarding a shipment of gold on a stagecoach, instead of making children behave on a little yellow school bus. Ramona pretended she was riding a stagecoach pursued by robbers until she discovered her eraser. Her beautiful pink eraser was missing. "Did you see my eraser?" she asked a second-grade girl who had taken the seat beside her. The two searched the seat and the floor. No eraser. Ramona felt a tap on her shoulder and turned. "Was it a pink eraser?" asked the boy in the baseball cap. "Yes." Ramona was ready to forgive him for kicking her seat. "Have you seen it?" "Nope." And the boy grinned and jerked down the visor of his baseball cap. That grin was too much for Ramona. "Liar," she said with the most ferocious glare. A faced front once more, angry at the loss of her new eraser, angry with herself for dropping it so the boy could find it. Purple cootie, she thought, and hoped the cafeteria would serve him fish portions and those canned green beans with the weird strings left on them, and apple wedges, that soft, mushy kind with the tough skins, for dessert. The bus stopped at Cedarhurst, Ramona's new school, a 2-story brick red building, much like her old school. As the children hopped on the bus, Ramona felt a little thrill of triumph. She had not been carsick. She now discovered she felt as if though she'd grown up even more than her feet. 3rd grade was the biggest people, except teachers, of course, at this school. All the 1st and 2nd graders running around the playground looked so young, made Ramona feel tall, grown up, sort of. Well, wise in the way of the world. Danny shoved ahead of her. "Catch!" he yelled to another boy. Something pink and small flew through the air and into the second boy's cupped hands. The boy wound up as if he was pitching a baseball and threw it back to Danny. "You give me back my eraser!" Encumbered by her lunchbox, Ramona chased Danny, who ran, ducking and dodging among the 1st and 2nd graders. When she was about to catch him, he tossed her eraser to the other boy. If her lunchbox had not banged against her knees, Ramona might have been able to grab him. Unfortunately, the bell rang first. "Yard apes!" yelled Ramona, her name for the sort of boys who always get the best balls, who are always the first on the playground, and who chase their soccer balls through other people's hopscotch games. She saw her pink eraser fly back into Danny's arms. "Yard apes!" she yelled again, tears of anger in her eyes. "Yucky yard apes!" The boys, of course, paid no attention. Still fuming, Ramona entered her new school and climbed the stairs to find her assigned classroom. She discovered lookout roofs and treetops of Mount Hood in the distance. I wish it would erupt, she thought, because she felt like exploding with anger. We'll stop there.